Welcome back to DPSN. Today, we have the final video for my 2021 NFL record predictions. Today, I'll be predicting the records for the 4 AFC North teams. Last season, this division had 3 teams make the playoffs. The Steelers won the division, going 12-4, and the Ravens and Browns both got wildcard spots, going 11-5. The Bengals were the one team that missed the postseason last year from this division, having only 4 wins. Today, I'll start my predictions with that one team that missed the postseason, the Cincinnati Bengals. This team has tons of talent and added even more in the draft by drafting LSU wide receiver Jamar Chase. They also improved their pass rush by signing former Saints defensive end Trey Hendrickson, who had 13.5 sacks last season. I like these moves, but the Bengals didn't really improve their biggest issue very much, which was their offensive line. They made a few additions to try to improve it, but they will still have a bottom 12 O-line in the league this upcoming season. The Bengals season will start against the Vikings. In a game the Bengals will lose. In their second game, the Bengals will once again be beat, this time by the Chicago Bears. The Bengals have a big divisional game against the Steelers in Week 3. Pittsburgh will win this game and cause the Bengals to start their season 0-3. Week 4 against the Jaguars, Joe Burrow and his Bengals will pick up their first win of the season before the Bengals have to play a great Packers team that they will lose to. Up next, they have a game against a terrible Lions team, and the Bengals will win another one before another tough game against the Ravens, in which they will lose. Against the Jets, Joe Burrow and his talented young offense will beat the Jets before a huge upset win over the Cleveland Browns right before a bye week. Coming out of the bye week, the Bengals will have a disappointing performance and lose to the Las Vegas Raiders, but they will bounce back the next week against the Steelers. The next 2 weeks, they play 2 tough teams in games they will lose before a win versus the Broncos to advance to 6-8 with 3 games left. In weeks 16 and 17, they play great teams, still fighting for playoff spots, so they will lose those 2 before beating the Browns in week 18 because the Browns won't be playing for anything, as I think the Browns will have a great season and their playoff position will already be secured at this point. The Bengals will finish the year 7-10, showing great improvement from last season. Alright, now let's talk about those Cleveland Browns. This team made the playoffs last year for the first time in 18 years, and now their future is looking bright. With their offseason additions, as well as getting back a healthy Odell Beckham Jr. and still having the pieces of a great run game, this team will be phenomenal this season. Week 1, they have a big game against the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs are still the best team in the AFC though, so they will beat the Browns in Week 1. After the 0-1 start, the Browns will beat the Texans as well as the Bears. After that, the Browns have 2 challenging games against the Vikings and Chargers. I believe the Browns are better than both these teams, and they will win both of them. Then, their next 3 games are less difficult games, which will allow the Browns to win these 3 and allow the Browns to go on a 7-game winning streak after starting off 0-1. In Week 9, like I said before, the Browns are going to get upset by the Cincinnati Bengals. After their second loss of the season, the Browns rebound, winning their next 2 games against the Patriots and Detroit Lions before losing a divisional game against the Baltimore Ravens before their bye week. Out of the bye week, they once again play the Ravens, and this time they will beat them before a win against the Raiders the next week. The Browns have a very difficult game against the Green Bay Packers in Week 16. This game is going to show how serious the Browns are, as they will defeat the Packers, cementing their spot as a top team in the NFL. After a huge win over the Packers, they will continue the momentum and beat the Steelers before the Bengals win over the Browns in Week 18. The next team I'll predict the record for is the Baltimore Ravens. I like the Ravens, but I do not love the Ravens. I don't think they'll be worse this season than they were last, but I don't see them making a big jump and being one of the best teams in the league either. Week 1, they will beat the Raiders before a loss against Patrick Mahomes' Chiefs. The Ravens' next 4 games will be split, making the Ravens 3-3 on the season. After that, the Ravens will get it going, beating the Bengals before going into their bye week. After that, the Ravens will pick up a big win over the Vikings before a tough loss to the Miami Dolphins. After the loss to the Dolphins, the Ravens get back to their winning ways, picking up 3 straight wins over the Bears, Browns, and Steelers. In a rematch against the Browns, they will lose before another loss against the Green Bay Packers. Now, with a record of 8-6, the Ravens will finish the season off strong, winning their final 3 games, finishing the year 11-6 and getting into the playoffs. So, their season will be basically the exact same as last year, finishing with 11 wins and being a wild card spot. Finally, we are at the final team I have to predict. The 32nd NFL team that's record I'll be predicting is the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Steelers started 11-0 last season before finishing the year just 12-4 and losing in the wild card round of the playoffs. Then, in the offseason, they lost pretty much their entire offensive line and didn't do much to replace it. I think we saw what this team really is towards the end of last season, and that downward momentum will continue into this season for the Steelers. Their first game will be a loss against the Buffalo Bills before the Steelers can win back-to-back games against the Raiders and Bengals. After that, the Steelers get a tough game against the Packers that they will lose, but then bounce back against the Broncos the next week. Then, week 6, the Steelers will lose to the Seahawks, dropping them to 3-3 before their bye week. Following their bye week, they will lose to the Browns, and then the Steelers will pick up back-to-back wins over bad NFC North opponents, but then their schedule gets very, very difficult, and their season will go downhill fast. The Steelers will lose to the Chargers, Bengals, Ravens, and Vikings before an upset win over the Tennessee Titans. But that will be their final win of the season, as they will lose the last 3 games to the Chiefs, Browns, and Ravens, finishing their season 6-11, going from first to worst in their division in just 1 season. Well, that is all I have. I have officially predicted the records for all 32 NFL teams for this upcoming NFL season. Thank you for watching. I'm Dylan Oliver, and I will see you next time.